You make peace with this. This is 143 pages of a love letter that my ex-boyfriend wrote me. 143-page letter.
Yeah, that will show him, Shekinah. That will teach him a lesson. How do you get even with your Playboy partner who slept with 3,000 women? Easy. You throw a ring binder of 143 pages that your very first boyfriend wrote you, aged 16. I mean, come on. But if you thought that was bad, just wait till you see what's going on with Statler and Dempsey.
I am having second thoughts just coming in my head, like, maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe this is a sign. Maybe this shouldn't happen.
Maybe Statler should have followed her gut. But before we get to that, let's start with Shekinah and Sarper. So Shekinah's just arrived in Turkey. She's been on a 17-hour flight and a 2-hour car journey back from the airport to Sarper's apartment. Yeah, it's been a long, tiring day. And having just returned to his apartment, she's discovered that Sarper hasn't thrown away all of the empty bottles that she asked him to.
It shows me how kind of careless he is and his lack of respect for me. I'm just feeling all kinds of things right now, and none of them are good things.
Now, Shekinah explains that the bottles are his trophies from women that he's slept with in the past. So the fact that he won't throw them away, to her, is pretty disrespectful. They're constant reminders, constant mementos of his past life, and she doesn't want that in her face every day. Now, on top of that, the apartment is also a mess. Sarper clearly hasn't gone to that much effort to prepare for Shekinah's arrival. And the whole situation, on top of her jet lag, is making her very emotional.
Are you crying for this?
I'm just tired of this.
I can't understand. I really
It's very simple.
Shekinah flips the situation, right? She asks Sarper, how would you feel if I had a cabinet full of items that reminded you of my exes, my ex-husband and partners? But it's at this point that Sarper drastically changes his tune. He now claims that the bottles in the cabinet actually have nothing to do with other women. No, you've got it all wrong, he tells Shekinah. Those bottles are just memories of places that I've visited in the past. You know, different locations, different countries that I've travelled to. And he goes as far as to say it's Shekinah who filled in the gaps.
But I said that I never drink by myself. Of course, she understood that. I mean, I drank with girls. I have to stop sometimes.
Sarper being Sarper, he always has to find a way to sneak in a little boast about how many women he's slept with, doesn't he? Like, this is a guy who could be talking about what he had for breakfast and still somehow bring up the fact that he slept with thousands of women, so he claims. But on this occasion, that boast is going to cost him because Shekinah isn't going to back down. She's adamant she wants that collection gone. And it's not just the empty bottles that she's set her sights on. You see, she also wants him to throw away that little black book of his that keeps track of all his sexual conquests. The book Sarper has tried to weaponise. The book he constantly dangles over her head and almost uses as a way to try and get her to back down and obey him somehow.
Do you want me to show the book to you? Huh? Do you want to see it?
No, I don't. Don't you dare bring that in front of me.
Why?
Because that's so disrespectful.
It's not made
It
to
is
show
so
you. It's not nothing.
Now, Sarper's argument is that the book no longer matters to him. He's found his one and only in Shekinah. That's why it's not disrespectful in his eyes. He tells her, you're just going to need to make peace with my past. But he's really pushing Shekinah to her limits. And little does he know, Shekinah hasn't arrived in Turkey empty-handed. You see, fearing that this might be the case, Shekinah has brought with her a 143-page love letter that was written to her by her first boyfriend. A ring binder's worth of mementos that she's held onto for decades.
You make peace with this. This is 143 pages of a love letter that my ex-boyfriend wrote me. 143-page letter.
Sarper is shocked into silence. There he was telling Shekinah that she needed to make peace with his past, but little did he know she was about to play an Uno reverse card on him. Yeah, take that, Sarper, make peace with that. Now, the funny thing is here is just how angry Sarper seems to get. Look at him, he looks absolutely absolutely furious, and he questions why Shekinah has kept this ring binder for so long. "What's your point by bringing this here?" he asks her. I mean, oh, the irony, right? Why have you kept your bottles and your books, Sarper?
You keep it?
Make peace with it.
You keep it?
It's no big deal.
Why did you brought it here?
Why not? It's just a book.
Shekinah uses Sarper's own words against him. "You're just gonna have to make peace with it," she says. "It's no big deal. Yeah, whatever you say to me, I can say back to you, Sarper." And while Shekinah tells us she wasn't expecting to have to whip this out on night one, she felt there was no other option. Sarper pushed her to this. But the thing is, this conversation between the two of them, when they're both this exhausted, is a very, very bad idea.
You are so good at up things.
Isn't it funny just how triggered he is by the love letters of a 16-year-old professing his puppy love? Yeah, who'd have thought it, hey? Being offered a taste of your own medicine doesn't feel too good, does it, Sarper? Now, as we leave Shekinah questioning whether or not she's made the right decision returning to Turkey, let's shift our attention over to Statler and Dempsey. You see, the pair of them have made some huge life plans together, considering they're not exactly historically the strongest of couples. Their plan is to buy a camper van and tour Europe together. But funding this expedition isn't going to be easy. In the last episode, we saw how Dempsey had sold her trailer, her home, in order to raise funds. And when we join them in this episode, Statler reveals she's also taken on a huge burden.
I have taken out a $20,000 loan to pay for my part of the camper van. I'm definitely feeling a lot more stressed out than she is, financially speaking.
Wow, that is a lot of money. And while rightly, correctly, Statler claims the brunt of the financial responsibility lies on her because she's the one that's going to be financially supporting them both. She's the one that can work remotely and earn an income while they're travelling in their camper van. At the same time, it is important to point out that Dempsey is also fully committed.
I'm selling my caravan today. It was the last thing for me to sell. I sold my car already, a TV, literally everything.
So clearly both women are all in on this idea. Both have given up a lot. Both are investing a lot. But as of yet, they still haven't been able to buy the camper van. You see, they're still a little short of funds. So today, Statler has taken her car to be valued and sold. And it turns out she's actually in for a pleasant surprise.
We're gonna give you 18,500.
Whoa, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, okay. This is a big decision.
The man actually offers Statler more than she was hoping to get. Now, you might think that that's a good thing, right? But remember, Statler isn't very good with change. And it's at this point, having just received the offer on her car, that Statler becomes very hesitant. And while you might rightly ask, what does she need a car for if she's going to be moving to England? What good is that car if she could use the money? Well, we start to see that perhaps all isn't as it seems. Perhaps she's still not entirely sure about her relationship with Dempsey.
I'm kind of more of a cautious person, so I like to have a backup plan, which is why I might want to keep it so I can have money later on if things don't work out.
Wow. Okay, so Statler's moving to England with the idea in the back of her mind that maybe the relationship won't work. She tells us she's an uptight person, right? She needs a backup plan. But Dempsey, on the other hand, Statler says, well, she's very different to me. She's more go with the flow. She's the one who's quit her job. She's very free-spirited.
She's just a crazy, free, in the wind kind of hippie type. And I am not.
Now, without wanting to spoil or anything, given what we know's happened in real life, All of these doubts, all of these differences between the two ladies, all of these financial burdens that they're lumping on their shoulders, all feel even more poignant. Now, if you're not up to date with all of the real life drama, everything that's happened since this was all filmed, I'll leave a link in the description and also at the end of this video where you can go back and watch everything that's happened. And fair warning, there's some wild accusations being thrown around, all of which make watching their storyline even more interesting. So yeah, if you haven't done so already, I definitely recommend going back and watching that. Now, with all that in mind, and again, not to spoiler anything if you don't want any spoilers, but everything that Statler's saying here, everything she mentions about Dempsey being a free spirit is very ominous. Yeah, keep it in mind because it will definitely come up again.
My biggest fear is that Dempsey and I won't do well on the road and we'll break up immediately. And then I'll be on the other side of the world with a ton of debt and nothing to fall back on.
Yeah, Statler's predicting that this could all end very badly. Not only might they break up, she says, but if that were to happen, I'd be left in a very, very bad financial situation. And for that reason, she decides she's not going to sell her car. But given that they need this money to buy the camper van, what exactly does her refusal to sell now mean for her and Dempsey's plans? Well, the next time we join them, we've time jumped to the day before Statler's meant to be flying out to England. And she's just received a text message from Dempsey.
Dempsey texted me just now and said, we can't afford the van and I'm leaving tomorrow.
Apparently, there's been some kind of miscommunication about how much money Statler was supposed to contribute. Now, Statler denies ever promising money from her car, but after she jumps on a call with Dempsey, I'm not exactly sure that I believe her.
There were so many numbers being thrown around, it didn't compute.
I don't understand.
I just thought I was just bringing the loan to the table and that was it.
No, you didn't.
Dempsey is adamant that Statler always knew that she had to sell her car. You've known all along that the van is going to cost £36,000, she says. You and I currently have £30,000 between us, loan included. So you agreed to sell your car to make up for the shortfall, the £6,000 that we owe. That's what you previously agreed, she says. Now, I think the fact that Statler was filmed going to sell her car, or supposedly sell her car, supports Dempsey's argument here. Like, Statler must have known that she needed to sell the car, otherwise why else would she be filmed off to sell her car? And in fact, she even goes as far as to admit, yeah, okay, you're probably right, you probably did tell me.
I'm sure she did tell me numbers at one point, but they didn't stick with me. Honestly, I'm a bit confused still, but the bottom line is we're £6,000 short.
So that being the case, again, the question that arises here is why is she now so hesitant? She's not even arrived in England yet, but already she seems to be having serious second thoughts. Is this all a sign, she asks? Is it a sign that I should just give up and not go?
It's making me feel even more overwhelmed, and I am having second thoughts just coming in my head, like, maybe this is a bad idea, maybe this is a sign, maybe this shouldn't happen.
Now, despite the alarm bells that are clearly beginning to ring, that have probably been ringing for quite some time, Statler tells Dempsey she'll do what she can to try and raise the remaining funds. Yeah, her flight is in a matter of hours, and it's too late now to sell the car, but leave it with me, she tells Dempsey. I've got no other choice at this point. I'll find that money somehow. It's not exactly a good position for her to be in, is it? She feels like she's being pressured to find the money. This definitely isn't a voluntary contribution. It's coming from a place of fear rather than a place of love.
I'm supposed to get on a plane tomorrow, and I don't want to be homeless when I get to England. I have nowhere to live, no backup plan. I am...
Yeah, it's all very concerning. It's definitely not a good position to be in. Not a good start to what's meant to be the adventure of a lifetime with the lady that you love. Statler's already going into this with feelings of resentment, and whatever the truth about that missing $6,000, whether it really was a mix-up or she just had cold feet, what she says next really speaks volumes.
When you look at it like factually, with such different personalities and different needs, what's gonna happen when we're together 24/7?
And that's precisely the point, Statler. Like, the fact that you know all of this, the fact that you go ahead and buy the van anyway, it all just goes to show how terrible your decision-making skills really are. Yeah, strap in, folks. It's gonna be a very, very interesting ride.